After 120 minutes of scoreless soccer at Championship Soccer Stadium this past Saturday, Orange County and Oakland went to a PK shootout, one of the most stressful things there is in all of soccer, all of sports really, and it came down to key plays from Orange County goalkeeper Patrick Rakowski making a big save to allow Ronaldo Damas the opportunity to score the winning kick to push Orange County on past Oakland, and now they will face San Antonio FC in the USL Championship Western Conference Finals. This is the Orange and Black Soccer Cast.
This is the Orange and Black Soccer Cast, the first and only podcast dedicated to Orange County Soccer Club, its fans, and supporters. Follow us on Twitter at OCSC_SoccerCast or on Facebook at Orange and Black Soccer Cast.
How's it going, Orange County and the rest of USL Championship Soccer fans, supporters, followers, whoever you may be listening, watching? This is the Orange and Black Soccer Cast, the first and only podcast dedicated to Orange County Soccer Club, its fans, and supporters. I'm your host, Ray Samora, and I'm going to take you through this journey as we discuss all things Western Conference playoff finals in the USL Championship, something like that. I don't know. I can't speak correctly. Let's see if we can get someone to speak correctly. Let's see if he's even paying attention to us. He's out actually having fun when he's supposed to be working like the rest of us here tonight. That's Dylan from Catalan Coalition. Dylan, where are you and how are you doing, my man?
I am at local brewery, Brewery X. I'm repping the former USL club, Reno 1868. That's just a happy coincidence, but I'm on my way back, so I promise I'm working. But I'm doing well. I am 2 beers deep, so this might be a crazy episode.
When is it not a crazy episode? And Dylan sort of channeling his inner Cameron as we're going to hear a bunch of noises in the background, all that fun stuff. Let's head on down south to San Diego, where we got the man, Alan from San Diego. Alan, how you doing, my man?
Doing all right. I am now officially like a new in the playoffs, which is fun. I commented on the goal kicks being less stressful for me because you have a slight rooting interest, but you also understand the storyline for Oakland and how kind of crazy that would be for them and how heartbreaking it was for them to lose that way. But I was really happy to be there watching that match. It was an interesting one, maybe not the most thrilling but it definitely had some the extra time, I think, had some very interesting calls, and you got to give it to the officials that which it was crazy. So having a good time.
Very much crazy. And we're definitely going to talk about it. And I'm going to hear from some of our guests. But before we get to our guests, got one more person that's a regular on this show. Must love Dylan's outfit tonight. And that's Brad up in Reno. Brad, does Dylan's shirt make you happy or does it make you sad?
Happy for sure, because there's a lot of Reno 1868 players still around the league, so I can't be sad seeing so many good players having success in the league. We'll be talking about a couple of them tonight.
And I know you were up on social media talking about some of those players from San Antonio that you're going to have to, I guess, hate for a week, or at least not cheer for a week, I guess is the better way to say it.
Yes, it is called the Gleedle Disagreement Week.
There we go. Let's get to one of these guests who's actually in San Antonio, the opponent of Orange County this upcoming Saturday at Championship Soccer Stadium. And that is Harry, big fan of the show, and we're a big fan of him. Harry in San Antonio, how are we doing, my man?
You and I probably aren't going to get along very well this week. Obviously, Orange County, San Antonio, and I believe right now, Clippers, Spurs. How'd you arrange this?
I don't know how. I totally forgot. I don't have access to the local station that covers the Clippers because they're on Bally Sports, which I think barely anyone gets.
Right.
And so
Same
I don't
here.
get a chance to watch many Clipper games, but hopefully they can knock off the Spurs. I don't know.
You're up by 4 at half, so
so
you're
we
up by
got
4
this
at
already.
half. So
That's simple. That's easy.
It's why their initials
those-
are. It's why their initials are BS, because that's how the channel is.
I like that. One more guest to bring on. He was on our show for the first time a couple weeks ago, and we're getting to this key point of the season, especially for Orange County, because we're still in it. San Antonio's still in it, and we have no idea what's going on in the Eastern Conference because that's a total different part of the world. So we brought John on to help us out with a little bit of that, and also to help us dissect this upcoming matchup for Orange County and San Antonio. What's up, John?
Yeah, happy to be back. I mean, loved being on a couple weeks ago. So
it's awesome to hear that people actually love being on our show, because somehow, some way, we make this happen and people like us. We've been bubbling along for 3.5 years now, Dylan? How long has it been? Something like that.
3.5 years this December. So we are just a couple weeks away now.
Woohoo. So let's do this. Let's talk about this. I guess I know Harry and I, before this stream went live, we said it probably wasn't the most exciting match for a neutral fan, being that it was very defensive. And Dylan's shaking his head. I don't know if he's disagreeing with that or if he's agreeing with it. At least for the regular 90 minutes and even that extra bit of time, there were some areas of excitement, but very, very chess-like in this match, where it's each team sort of just trying to figure out where they can maybe get that victory, and neither of them could get it. Let me go to you first, Dylan, because you were actually at the stadium in the stands with County Line Coalition. What was the atmosphere like there in the general, was it GA1 is what the official title of that area is? What was the atmosphere like, and what did you think of, at least up until the end of 120 minutes?
It was a party, and I don't think I've seen that many people in the stadium since 2018 in the Western Conference Finals. So that was great to see. But it was, I think it was mostly fun more than anything. It wasn't too stressful because it kind of, I'm sure John will prove me wrong later with some actual statistics and some actual knowledge, but it kind of just seemed like Oakland didn't really want to win that game. They were more interested in just almost dragging it out for 120 minutes, which is what they ended up doing, and what we ended up doing as well. So it was good, but you could tell some voices were getting tired and some legs were getting tired at the end of that 120.
I'm going to do this. I'm going to jump straight over to John, because Dylan called out the name, because I want to see if John has anything to disagree with Dylan there. But I also want to ask John a very specific question about this match. Orange County, this impressive run for them of being a really, really solid defensive squad. I'm going to assume any team that's going up against Orange County has to come in with the game plan of they need to score at least a couple goals, or at least they have to get enough chances to score some goals to have an opportunity to take out this Orange County squad. What were your thoughts, with what Dylan said, that this was exciting, and what is it that Orange County is doing that's working so well and stopping other teams from scoring against them?
Yeah, just to address the excitement question, I think both teams had a fairly negative approach to the game, where they really were comfortable sitting back defensively, trying to just grind it out. Orange County was certainly the more positive of the two sides. I don't really think that's up for debate. But in terms of the success, I think in this match especially, you really saw the way that the back four and the double pivot for Orange County was just so organized. McCabe and Powers centrally were so important to what this team was doing. I thought Eric Cavio was the man of the match for me. What he did with that sort of central attacking midfield spot where he could slide deeper given his pedigree in the central midfield role, or he could press up is really something more of a second striker when the moment called for it, was essential to how OC stopped Oakland from those central builds-ups. You see Matthias Visore really be one of the sparks for this side, and he was shut down. Some of the long ball play that they were getting through Quincy Amarikwa in past matches and their sort of good run of form for Oakland didn't really turn out for them. So I think the way that OC just subtly changes their game plan while keeping that solid base at the back to address what their opponent is going to be doing has just proven so effective in this recent run of form for them.
Let me sort of piggyback off what you said there, John, and just ask Brad this question. I'm going to go to Brad next. So, John's mentioning that both these teams sort of had this game plan of let's sit back and play more defensive and figure out, pick our opportunities out here, right? Is that the wrong approach when you're going against a team like Orange County that for the last, 10 matches now has been, winning by that 1-goal margin and limiting the amount of goals the other team's scoring? Is that the right approach as an opponent to come in against Orange County, in your opinion?
Well, I think that the counterattack is something that Oakland has always done well this season. But as for Orange County, we came into this match with a huge question mark, missing both Kobe Henry and Robbie Kiernan. And if you would have told me, hey, we're going to bring Alston into the middle, put Nathan Smith in the left wing back position, I would have been like, that doesn't necessarily sound like what I would do. I thought Dylan Powers would have been what I was expecting as a center back there, but I thought, kind of seamless. Orange County continued what they were good at while basically down a man out of position. So very happy to see that. And yeah, I mean, I don't really have too much more to add. Orange County definitely played their game and didn't get crossed up there.
I'm going to jump over to Harry really quick as an outsider. I'm sure after the San Antonio RGV match, you at least went and checked out a little bit of this match. If not, you're not doing your fandom right of trying to scout who your next opponent may be. But you tuned in, of course, if you did, to a 0-0 match or a 0-0 match at that point. And I think before the show, you said it was a little bit of a snooze fest or something like that. Is that correct?
It was, but I'm going to push back on you guys. If you look at the average positions, if you look at shots, now they weren't on target, but if you look at shots, Oakland had more shots than Orange County. You look at the average position, Oakland was higher. Looking at, according to, the USL site here, just looking at the starters, just that way the subs doesn't. So I don't necessarily disagree that Oakland wasn't pushing. I think both teams tactically played defensive first. There's no question about that. But I think Oakland took their chances. The problem is they couldn't put it on frame. And that might be why it seemed a little bit more that Orange County had it. But, Oakland took 11 shots, only 1 on target. Orange County only took 8 and had 3 on target. So, but for the volume of the game, because we watched the second half by the time we got home out of the stadium, and it was an even match. It seemed like a good environment that was coming through the TV. Just neither team could break down the defense. So.
All right, look at Harry already trying to cause some problems on here tonight. But I would counter argue against you, Harry's right. This is Orange County's game plan, right? Is taking the shots, just not getting knocked out. At least for the last 8, 9, 10 matches, that's what they've been trying to do is just keep themselves there and look for their opportunities. And let me go to you, Alan. Right? If the other team can't hit target, I mean, aren't you just gonna let them shoot all day if they're showing that they can't hit the target and not be scared about that?
I mean, yes and no. I think in this situation there were a lot of question marks. Talking to Richard Chapello after the match and asked about the defensive setup. With Michael Orozco being a question mark in the middle of the week, like he didn't train for part of the week, and so it's like you only have one guy is reliable, and then he had to get patched up. Like that shows how much Michael Orozco wanted to be in that match, and how much he means to the team. I think the most fascinating part of this match was in stoppage time, where both coaches kind of switched around tactics. I think John pointed this out on his Twitter thread. We were in the box trying to figure out what Orange County was doing, because I was like, these are 11 names that I don't think I've ever seen on the pitch together at one time. It was like, where is Enna Voltson playing? Is he playing a 10? Is this a 4-4-2 diamond? Like, how are they setting us up with Kaningas there? And it was like, to me, that was the most fascinating play. Is Chapel is playing a different setup. Oakland goes to 3 at the back. And again, something John pointed out as well. Like, as he made the substitute, one of the Oakland guys like, we're going through, and Moret. And so I think toward the end, both coaches are kind of putting players on the pitch to kind of get the win in extra time. I don't think either team was really going for a draw at the end. I think both of them were putting on some pretty strong players, and there were some substitutions right before the end that was definitely setting up for PKs. You want to get the guys who are going to make those kicks on the pitch in a way that they're getting into the game and getting some touches. But I think, watching this back, like, I think watching that extra time is the most fascinating. I think the first, second half are fine, but when Chapelo and Farrell are going back and forth with these really interesting tactical changes, I think that's where it was really exciting to see two teams kind of playing differently than you might have seen any other time you've paid attention to these two teams. I know Oakland's gone 3 in the back before. That's something they've played, but like Orange County with this really weird offensive setup, I think Johnny labeled it as it's kind of an unbalanced. It looked like a Z, like the Zorro. They're in the Zorro formation.
Well, you had for Orange County at one time you had Ronaldo Damas, Ugo Coley, Thomas Enevolson, Darwin Jones, all on the pitch at the same time. We've never seen that in the time that those players have been on the roster. I know really this is the only season where that could have happened, but even in the past under Coach Braden Cloutier, you never saw where you had that many goal scorers or attacking players and players that all play really high up on the pitch, right? It's not like you have a player that can be a goal scorer but also will drop back a little bit. It was 4 legit goal scorers in there at one time.
Right. So, like, if you are a neutral, go back and just watch the extra time when these substitutes start happening. And I think if you're like a tactics nerd, it's a really fun chess match to watch. Obviously, it doesn't necessarily end up with any type of ending that might be. I mean, penalty kicks are penalty kicks, but I mean, you had nice Damas header that was called offside that Oliver asked if it was offside, and I had to tell him and then he yelled at me about being a San Diego fan. But I think it
was a clear offside.
Yeah, I mean, it was several steps. Obvious. Like I still think if he holds that run, I still think he might get ahead of that defender because he's so fast and so quick. But yeah, that was a pretty easy call.
That Darwin Jones had an opportunity in the final seconds of this match, pretty much. Just could not. And that might be something too, where you're a player that had just come off the bench. You haven't really gotten clean touches yet, and it's just difficult at that time to be able to get a volley right in front of the goal with the pressure mounting on you. It's a difficult thing.
So it was like the regular time, I think Orange County played a typical Orange County match, but I do think that Chapelo was putting his best players on the pitch to try and win this before penalty kicks, because both of the teams, I don't think, wanted to chance that, because you can control your destiny a little bit more in extra time than you can in PKs. And we saw what happens. Like, you have 4 great PKs, 5 great PKs, and you have one bad shot, and that's the end of your season. So I think you're looking at OC playing a pretty conservative match at the very end, and that's where. And again, I'm going to shout out your Twitter thread on this. It was everything that I noticed but couldn't articulate as clearly as you made it. So I appreciate you putting in words to what we were trying to figure out in the press box.
That's why he's allowed to have that Twitter handle of USL Tactics. Let me ask you this real quick, John, before we get into these PKs. If you look at that match in the whole, the 120 minutes, is there someone on there that you look at and you say, or is there a side, either Oakland or Orange County, that you look at the tactics that they played in this match that said they deserved this win, or was it pretty evenly matched up in your eyes at the end, tactics-wise?
I think Oakland came into this one with a simple but effective game plan where you're going to sit into this sort of 4-4-2, 4-2-3-1 formation. You'll press the wingers up at times. It's basic, but it'll get the job done. It'll grind out a result. Maybe you'll snatch something with a long ball, akin to what happened against El Paso. I have the tendency to want to credit the side that was more positive tactically. And as we talked about with those late subs for Orange County, that was certainly the side that tried to grab the game by the scruff of the neck. I mean, I think the Univolts and sub really changed things and gave that measured creative presence that he's been so good at providing in the USL for years. I thought Okoli was really bright when he came on, Kaningas as well, where there really was an offensive impetus. Just speaking to the chance quality that we had brought up earlier, Oakland had 3 shots in the box the entire time, and they were 4 of 29 crossing in the game. So they were able to get possession in those sort of attacking areas, but didn't really have anything to do with it once they got there. Whereas Orange County certainly had, I think, fewer chances to really do things, but when they were able to progress the ball, whether that was through a lost Skierdamus or some of the subs, they showed some intent. So I think I lean towards Orange County if there was a more deserving team here.
So the quality over quantity argument is sort of what we're looking at there, right? It's getting fewer chances, but more quality chances. Harry, I'm going to give you last word on this before we talk about these PKs. And you can just say, I agree with everything that Ray says.
Yeah, I don't really have much more to communicate on it right now. Just, I thought it was an even match, like I'm just,
I mean, that's a fair assessment of this. If a match after 120 minutes is 0-0 and it's going to PKs, it's probably a pretty even match. There's going to be pluses and minuses for everyone, but it's going to be pretty evenly matched up if you're going into PKs in a playoff scenario after 120 minutes, right? I mean, let's be honest.
Well,
that was
to me, was there really any
yeah.
standout chances that the teams missed? That's the issue. There was the offsides, which the refs got it right, but there were shots, but I don't think there was really any. I don't want to say both teams were playing for for PKs, because I don't think that was the case. I just think this is a matchup that this was their fifth time playing each other. They knew each other very well, and neither one until the very end made a whole lot of adjustments to change tactics. And in this match, for the first time this year, Oakland was able to kind of match the effort by Orange County and stay in it. And I think Oakland showed themselves well, especially from the start of the year till this match here. Would have shocked people if they would have won this game if you actually watched it? No. Would have shocked, Orange County sneaking a goal late? No. But, as a neutral, it just felt like this was going to PKs. Just it just had that vibe, and it had that vibe early in the second half.
So let's talk about PKs, because Alan mentioned, sort of being a neutral at this point. I know he's a podcast regular on our podcast, but really he's San Diego at heart. So Orange County's, when it's Orange County, he would love to see Orange County progress, but, it's not this important thing. San Diego is more important to Alan at this point. But for Orange County fans, probably a pretty nerve-wracking scenario there. I was watching on the ESPN Plus stream because I was out of town, and I swear I probably I already have really short nails because I bite my nails all the time. I took a good half inch off of already really short nails. I mean, if I showed you my nails, you probably would be grossed out at this point. But let's talk about this. There's 3 names I want to call out to talk about during these PKs. I want to talk about Blanchette. I want to talk about Ronaldo Damas's kick, of course. And I also want to talk about the goalkeeper for Orange County and Patrick Rakowski. So let's talk about Blanchette really quick. This dude was guessing right almost every single time, just could not get his fingertips on the ball. I was watching with my wife, and my wife was getting nervous because it seemed like every single time, the first 3 kicks or whatever, Blanchette was getting closer and closer and closer to getting that ball. Orange County kickers were just getting it right in that difficult part for the goalkeepers there. Does anyone feel bad for Blanchette after this match? Because he probably is kicking himself that he should have at least made one of those saves early. And then, of course, he had the big blunder that gave Ronaldo Damas a second opportunity, which even on the second opportunity, he still did the same thing, which would have probably ended up to a third opportunity had that presented itself as an opportunity. We'll talk about the controversy with that, but let me just ask, anyone feel bad for Blanchett on those first three where he dove right and that was the absolute correct direction? He just could not get his hands on the ball.
I mean, no, but also like yes, but also like no. Like his story is wild. He signed with Oakland as their like third keeper, and he has managed to work himself up to the starting role. Like his like go back and look at the signings from Oakland. Like his story is absolutely wild how he got into the starting position. So like hats out to him. I think he had a great game otherwise. He's just a little bit unlucky that he's guessing right, but I think if you rewatch those penalty kicks, most of them are like really well taken penalty kicks that are
both sides.
Yeah, they're like hugging posts. They're hit hard enough that you'd have to have like go gadget arms to get to those. Like no humans getting to those, or Stretch Armstrong.
Alan made a reference that millennials are not going to understand at this point.
Right. So I'll go Stretch Armstrong. Is that a little bit newer? I don't know how those work.
Go gadget's good.
We were making those comments in the press box. We're like, man, like this is like the keepers are guessing right. They're just beaten by better penalty kicks, and it was really boiled down to it's going to take that one bad PK, and unfortunately, that was Oakland was the first one to take kind of a not great PK that was placed to the center for Rakowski to get his hand on. But I think Blanchett is one of the stars of the match. If you're giving out like 3 stars like hockey, I think Blanchett gets one of those stars for sure. Again, his story and Oakland's story are kind of similar. Like just no one thought he was going to get a start. He was the third keeper that became the backup keeper that became the starter. Just this kind of Cinderella story for him. And like if he's a starting keeper in the USL for sure.
So let's talk about the Rakowski save before we go back to Blanchett and Ronaldo Damas, that whole scenario there. I want to talk to you real quick, Brad, because I haven't heard your voice in a while. I want to hear your voice. Rakowski, up until that save, was looking a little shaky. I think he was diving in the wrong direction almost every time. Never looked like he was going to make the save. You could even maybe see there's this little concern or little slight lack of confidence at some point there coming towards I think it was the fourth kick for Oakland that he stopped. What did you think? What is your thoughts on your best impression or your best thoughts on what was going through Rakowski's mind that whole time and up until making the save?
I believe it was the 6th kick and the last kick that he stopped, not the 4th.
Okay.
But that's kind of irrelevant. In Rakowski's head, he's probably telling himself all it takes is one save there. And really it boils down to Akeem Ward had what I thought was a pretty poorly taken penalty kick there, to where he hesitates, kind of telegraphs and sees where Rakowski goes, and then kind of kicks it in the direction that Rakowski's already sliding towards. So just as much as Rakowski makes a good save there, I think part of the blame should be placed on the actual penalty kick itself.
Simple and sweet there. I want to go to Harry next, and this is more because you're a true neutral fan at this point. John's neutral on this, but he's a little bit more of the tactics guy.
On this. I won't lie to you.
What's up?
I wasn't neutral on this. I was going for the roof. When it came to this part, I was like, come on, Oakland, because that way we get another game here at Toyota Field. I'm not going to lie.
Okay, so you're not neutral. So you're actually rooting for Oakland. So this might help out a little bit more. This might help a little bit more on this question because we're going to now talk about hesitations. We're going to talk about Ronaldo Damas, his hesitation on that run-up, and which caused Blanchett to come off the line not once but twice, because even on the re-kick, if you watch the replay, that Orange County got like an amazing angle of that re-kick from their social media team, and you can see Blanchett has both feet off the line by the time Damas strikes. So let me ask you, if you're an Oakland fan, are you upset that the initial save from Blanchett on Ronaldo Damas was called back, or do you have to, give props to, or not props, but understand, hey, that's the rules and Blanchett messed up?
So,
because you are an Oakland fan in this moment, you just admitted it.
Well, no, I even tweeted afterwards that I didn't like that they re-kicked the kick, and it wasn't and it's not just this match. It's any of them. When the kicker pauses, stops, whatever you want to call it, it's supposed to be a smooth motion. His was not a smooth motion, by letter of the law. But they never call it on the kickers. But yet they have this rule, and they started enforcing it 2 years ago, or I think it was the last Women's World Cup is when they really started enforcing this. So by the letter of law, you can't be upset because technically it's the right call. I just think it puts the goalkeepers at a huge disadvantage, already more than what they are. Did the refs get it right? Yes. Did he leave early? Yes. In my opinion, you could argue that
Well, you said the refs got it right, so it's good. Refs got it right. That's all we have to hear.
All right.
Don't worry. No, continue. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I think to me, and this isn't just a USL Pro thing or a USL thing. This happens across the world. I think if you have that stutter step, that pause, whatever you want to call it, that should also start to be getting called now as well. If you're really gonna be looking at the goalkeepers, if you're off the line by 6 inches, whatever the amount is, and this isn't the first instance that we've seen this called, in the game. I just, to me, it puts the goalkeepers at such a huge disadvantage. And, if you're a Roots fan, you probably feel a little bit emotionally undone. Like I was, I wasn't upset, but, I was a little bit perturbed, and, I put it out and but mine's more just in general. Because at the end of the day, the rule's the rule. You can't argue with the rule. And I know Alan, tweeted on
Twitter,
my little post there saying, hey, this is, because Alan always comes back with Mr. Rules of, hey, this is how it's supposed to be.
That's why Phoenix fans love Alan so darn much.
Well, it's cool because he leaves the emotion out. My tweet, I'm not going to lie to you, probably had some emotion, for it here because, we're now traveling to Orange County, which
I hear from you. Most San Antonio people are hoping that San Antonio wins so they can spend their money to go to Florida or Louisville, Kentucky.
If you're one game out, are you paying the money to go? If you're one game out, are you paying to go to the Western Conference Championship, or are you hoping San Antonio or whatever team that it is can make the money to go to the finals?
When you're going to lose the match, you're going to the Western Conference Finals because you're going to lose the match. You won't get that other opportunity. Let me move on over to John
later. I'm sure. I'm pretty.
Let me move on over to John here really quick. Your thoughts on the Ronaldo Damas winning PK there, and the whole Blanchett coming off the line and it being retaken. Just in your mind, what are you looking at there? And is this the right call in this situation, in this big moment of a game?
I'm pretty much with Harry on this, where, yeah, it's the letter of the law. That's how it's supposed to be enforced in theory by the rules. But it is completely unfair when you have the penalty takers violating the other side of it so often. And I feel like it's an inconsistently applied rule, even in the context of goalies, where it's such a judgment call. Was it the right choice given the context? Probably. Did it take away from the drama a little bit? Yeah. Did OC deserve to win? Probably at the end of the day. So, I think it balances out, but I'm not necessarily happy with the exact manner that things went down.
So here we go. I'm going to probably make a few Orange County fans a little bit upset here. I come from a NBA background. That was sort of my first true love sport before I got into this beautiful sport of soccer/football around the world. And one of the things you see in the NBA, especially in the closing minutes of games, is the refs don't want to impact the outcome of a game. Now, some people will argue that by not making the call, you impact the outcome of the match or the game. But you tend to see some of the calls that would be maybe the obvious calls. It's almost like in soccer with those calls or those fouls that occur inside the PK, the penalty box, Maybe if it was outside of the penalty box, the ref makes the call. But inside the penalty box, they're going to be a little bit more lenient on the contact and the stuff that goes on. So I can get the argument where you're upset about that call being made in that crucial situation. But I'm an Orange County fan, so I got to be excited about the way things turned out there. So, but I'm looking at both sides of it. I get it. It's the ref took this match and basically took control of this match in the most important play of a close match.
But the ref called it right.
The ref called
I know
it right.
we say that, but the ref called it right. Now,
but you mentioned too the stutter step, and did the ref make the correct call when it comes to?
But they don't call
hesitation.
It's not a point of emphasis.
I've seen it called in other matches around the world. I'm a Tottenham fan, and I saw that exact same thing with less of a hesitation with Heung-min Son doing the same type of move against, I can't remember who it was, maybe it was Liverpool, who knows. Not as much of a hesitation and makes it, and then the ref calls it back because of the hesitation there. So it's the inconsistency. You don't see the kicker get penalized as much as the goalkeeper in those situations, which that's what happens. That's the fun stuff of the sport. In the end, Orange County, go ahead, Harry.
I do want to give a shout out to Giannis Harris from the Roots, who got subbed on at 120 minutes plus one. So he hadn't touched the ball. He went up and hit a clean PK, as we saw in the Euros. I forget, I think it was England that did that, and
yes, it did not work
miserably. So
props. Yes, that is a good props
to him
out,
from
Harry.
Taking a clean shot on your first shot.
Alan's raising his hand there. He apparently has something he wants to add to this.
Yes. Ready? Feinting to kick the ball once the kicker has completed the run-up. Feinting in the run-up is permitted according to FIFA rules.
So you can feint.
So you can feint during the run-up, but once you've completed the run-up, you cannot feint to kick a ball. So even by the letter of the law, what Damas did was still legal. Now, if you want to say the rule should be changed so that it has to be a consistent and constant motion, then I think that's the argument to make. And I think that's a fair one. Like, I think goalies are already at a disadvantage during the PKs, that you say once you start your run-up should be as like a sustained speed. So if you want to do like the super slow run-up, that's fine. But according to the rule book, you can feint all you want during the run-up. You just can't feint at the end. So there is no call there to make against Damas. I think Blanchett moves. It's the second jump that really does it. I think he bounces once and it comes close to off the line. I think his second jump comes pretty far off the line. And then just a few little things. Rakowski guessed right 3 out of the 6 times. He almost saves the second one. He gets a touch and it hits off the post. And then obviously the last. And then Blanchett guesses correctly on all of them but the first PK, which is like insane. He guessed on all.
That's insane thing is that's almost impossible to do. He should have been buying lottery tickets that night, even though they lost.
Yep. And it is. It really is. It really is for a keeper. Like, you're looking to make one save. Like, you're not making to make 2 or 3. You're looking at one save. And
Blanchett put himself in position to make 5 or 6 saves, but he just couldn't get it.
He just couldn't quite get to those because they were just better. I think the one that was like kind of the wrong guess was kind of the first PK from Kaningas, where it was like kind of down the center, kind of not down the center. So it was hard to say that he guessed wrong or right there. I put he guessed wrong because whatever. But all the rest of them, he definitely dove the correct way. Rakowski dove correctly 3 out of the 6 times, which is still pretty good.
Apparently, we shouldn't call it guessing, though. There's usually there's a strategy behind the way the goalkeeper is diving. It's not just I'm going to wait till he kicks the ball to guess.
His strategy paid off. Rakowski was about a coin flip, and that's what 3 out of 6. And
he made the save.
Yeah.
And hey, don't want to bash Blanchett when he's down, but even on the second Ronaldo Damas kick, he still came off the line early. So it's coming. Why do you still do it? Who knows? Let's move ahead, because now all this Orange County moves on, and San Antonio had a little bit more of a what was it, a smooth, easy win. I think we're talking about.
I think
convincing. Harry said convincing win against who is it?
RGV.
RGV.
Blanchard's
RGV.
old team from last year.
There we go. Really quick, Harry, give us your quick rundown on that match, and we'll then look ahead to this Orange County San Antonio match this weekend.
So I think San Antonio was pretty dominant in this match, just kind of like they were, I hate to say this against Allen, but like they were against the Loyal. Once again, 33% possession, but just if San Antonio can get the lead early, and against RGV, they were able to get their goal in the 24th minute on this one here. So it was only 1-0 at half, and then 55th minute he got Patino got the brace, and then they got the third goal in the 61st, and then RGV got a PK called. I think it was around the 70th minute, 69th minute. But RGV was just, they just couldn't handle the press, and that's, I think, going to be the very interesting subject where, I'm interested to hear what John has to say, because San Antonio will not set back. They play a pressing style. They, it's, to quote Landon Donovan, they're aggressive. They will push the issue. We'll just say, they led the league in fouls. They led the league in yellow cards. They led the league in red cards. But if you look at their possession, and if you look at their ability to turn that limited possession into goals, it's very impressive. So, and I think, for San Antonio, with Nathan and Patino up top, with having Ford, Tainter, and Kamiri in the back, and super emergency sub Farr, goalkeeper, I'm very excited for San Antonio's chances going against Orange County.
So really quick before I go to you, John, I want to ask you just sort of your thoughts on the San Antonio RGV match. But Rob Kiernan, if by any chance you're listening to our show, I know you probably already know the stats, but apparently San Antonio likes cards, and we know you like taunting the opposing players into getting cards or committing hard fouls. So Rob Kiernan, do your job on this match, and we can thank Harry for that scouting report there.
It goes both ways, buddy. It goes both ways. San Antonio gets under that skin. A lot of teams have got frustrated.
There we go. John, really quick, your thoughts on the San Antonio RGV match before we move ahead and look ahead to this Western Conference final.
Yeah, I think convincing is the best word for it. RGV just couldn't handle the pressure. They sort of switched to this 4 center midfielder setup in the last couple of weeks, and it's seen them to some pretty high levels of success. Honestly, I think anyone who's seen them play recently could attest to that. But the way that San Antonio sort of used those 4 attacking players to close down, they pushed PC high up the pitch. The wide center backs got up again in the press as well, and RGV really didn't have an answer for it. And when you have those dynamic players that San Antonio has in droves, really, and they're winning the ball in space in these press scenarios, it's kind of game over. They really played out their game plan to a T. And as Harry said again, when they got the lead, it was always going to be really hard for RGV to get back in it, given that they're just not the most explosive side to begin with.
Perfect. So both these teams now move ahead. It's a Western Conference final, USL Championship. The winner moves on to the big game against either Tampa Bay or Louisville. San Antonio is traveling out to Orange County. Is there any kind of disadvantage for San Antonio in that? It sounds like there'll be a minimal amount of fans making their way out here, because it seems like a lot of the fans are either confident that their team will win and they'll get an opportunity to go to the championship. I'm going to ask you, John, on this. I sort of, based on what you've talked about here so far, I think you're going to lean towards San Antonio probably having the advantage in this match, because you said you usually go for the more attacking-minded club. But let's just talk about that home field advantage. Is there an advantage for Orange County in this match?
I do think that there's an innate comfort level in being at home, not having to go through the travel. But that said, I mean, I think you're right that I lean towards San Antonio. I won't spoil the prediction there, but I really see things playing out somewhat similarly to how the RGV game went, in that I don't really trust the build up out of the back for Orange County. And I do think that something that sets them apart from RGV is that willingness to just blast it long to Adamas and really sort of skirt the issue of the press. But at the same time, if you're Orange County, you can't rely on that for 90 minutes against a team that can build from the back and has the technical ability that San Antonio throws out there. So I think it's going to be a tough matchup if you're an Orange County fan.
Dylan, let me ask you really quick. Is this a match then where we're going to see maybe the inclusion of a Thomas and a Voldson or an Ugo Coley in the starting lineup to try and provide a little help for Ronaldo Thomas in this type of a match?
I'm not certain. I really don't think we'll see Thomas Voldson that early because I don't think he's fit enough to last. I think this was the biggest test of his fitness that he's had since his knee injury in May. And he did well, but he's not nearly as mobile as he was earlier this year, or certainly not as mobile as he was in 2018. And if I'm honest, I think Ugo and Ronaldo can hold up the ball about as well as each other right now. And Ronaldo's quite a bit more mobile, getting after the ball, and quite a bit more, in the nicest way possible, quite a bit more lethal in front of net right now. I think his confidence is, incredibly high. If he can stay onside, he could really do some damage. And I think Ugo is,
in your mind. In your mind, Ronaldo Thomas is Michael Seaton 2.0 for this club.
They're very different players. I'm not going to say that.
But you're saying he's got that hold up. He's got that hold up capability like Ugo has, and he's putting more pressure on. And I'll say this, right? When Ugo first joined the team last season, early on, I think there was the conversation that he's not a Michael Seaton because he doesn't put the pressure on for 90 minutes like Seaton did. I think Ronaldo does that. And you said he does the hold up like Ugo.
Yeah, I feel like Ugo has not had a great final month of the year in his hold up play, the way that Orange County has really, really needed him to hold the ball up. And that's fine because you go in and out of form over a season, and hopefully he's getting hot, or hopefully he's just hot in front of goal. Because you know what, if you can fail to hold up the ball, but you can put a couple goals in the back of the net, and he's done so, then you take that. The trade-off is I think he's working harder than he was in 2019 when he first arrived. No, that was 2020 when he first arrived. Excuse me. Years are so difficult, as people might remember from my first appearance on the show this year. But I just think Ronaldo's confidence is high, and he's been kicked a lot. He's lost a lot of duels, physically and literally on paper. But he's kept to it, and so that's got to be worth something. And I don't see how you can drop your team's top scorer when he's still getting into positions to score, still putting shots on target, still scoring the winning penalty, or the penalty to advance, because technically it's not a win. But
well, we won the PKs, so you won the PKs.
Yeah, I still think you advance. Right? You advance on PKs. You don't win. We did not beat Oakland, but we advanced on penalties.
But
that was a conversation for 15 minutes ago when my phone died and I was on my way back.
We won the PKs.
It's twice.
That's not how it works, man.
Who could say? Wait. Who could say I am wrong in that statement? Is we won the PKs? You are wrong.
We're raising our hands if you're wrong, right? Because
Mr. Rulebook, Alan Underwood, I bet you will come out and say, because you know why?
No, I'm not saying we won the match. That's Alan's thing. Is if you advance on PKs, you didn't win the match. You drew and you advance on the PKs. But who won the PK shootout?
You don't win a shootout, man. You just advance.
Like
you don't advance.
Won the first half, man.
What was the score of the shootout? Brad, what was the score of the PK shootout?
6-5.
He's looking it up.
There's no
He's muted. He doesn't know. He wasn't there.
Okay, John, what was the score of the PK shootout?
6-5.
6-5.
6-5. Who had 6?
The team.
Y'all know where I'm going with this, right? You all know where I'm going with this, right? Okay, Orange County had more points in the PK than Oakland, thus they advanced. Is that a better way to say it then, I guess?
Sure, but when you
Why
have a
are you
PK
getting
shootout,
so
everyone loses.
specific?
Everyone loses a
We
PK
won
shootout.
the PKs. We didn't win the match. It was a draw, but we won the PKs. That's all I'm going to say there. All right. Sorry.
Sure,
I
go
just
ahead,
went
Ray.
on a,
You
you
got
guys
that
threw
one.
me on a total rant there. My wife will tell you I'm very literal when it comes to stuff. So if Orange County had 6 PKs and Oakland had 5, Orange County did better than Oakland. John's
But
like,
you
why the
could
hell did I
argue
come on
that the
this show
ref
if we're going
stopped
to
the
argue
last one.
about if you win a PK shootout or not? Alan, I forgot everything Dylan said there because I got so heated on this PK rant. Alan, your thoughts? I think you had a dog in your hands there for a second, but your thoughts on whatever's going on here with Oakland, or not Oakland, Orange County and San Antonio.
Jasper was jumping up to tell me that while Damas will keep Orange County dangerous and in the match, I think he's going to have to score 2 to win. Like Orange County is going to have to put 2 in to win this match. I think as well as Orange County is playing and how many clean sheets they've kept, watching the way San Antonio plays, they're a scary team that can just dominate you for enough time that they can put you on your back heels really quickly. And then all of a sudden they snatch a goal and now you got to get 2. I think the longer the game goes without a goal, the more chance Orange County has of snatching something like that from Damas. We saw this with both playoff games in San Antonio. They came out and just punched their opponent in the mouth. Like San Diego was not ready for that jelly. So, yes, that is a bootylicious reference. But and Harry, you said it right. Like watching that match, I was just like, damn, they're just a better team than San Diego for sure. And they're a better team than RGV. I think right now San Antonio is playing some of the best soccer in the USL. I think they're playing the best soccer in the Western Conference for sure. And I think Orange County is going to have their hands full. Again, I think if San Antonio scores in the first half, I think it's dunsies. I think they have enough firepower to keep Orange County away from the goal. I said this against San Diego. Like if San Antonio scores twice, the game's over. I think it'd be a very tall ask for Orange County to score twice. So Orange County has got to keep it close into half. It needs to be 0-0 into half. And if it's not, it's got to be 1-1 in order for Orange County to survive this one. I think this is going to be a super fun match to watch. 2 teams that are playing well in their specific styles. I just think San Antonio and I know I might get roasted on a future podcast from a player like a la Aiden Quinn when I said that they would win against a certain Real Monarchs team. The way they're playing right now on paper, San Antonio is one of the best. So Orange County has got to play the best game they've played all season in order to get a win here.
So I'm going to go to you next really quick, Brad. So Alan says Orange County needs 2 goals to win if they're going to be able to win this match. So basically we got to look back to the last match that Orange County scored 2 goals, and that was against Las Vegas. Roughly a month ago. So basically just match what we did against Las Vegas, right, Brad?
No, if you're going to get 2 goals, they need to come early in the game. You need to get on the board before San Antonio does. And not only that, but you need to keep the pedal to the metal on that one. We were lucky to get out of that or that Vegas game with that second goal late in the game. You can't rely on having your first goal come almost 70 minutes in. So
that's what they've relied on this whole run is they've done that and it's worked so far. I mean, why change what has been working for you now for 2.5 months or 2 months really, because there was that congested period, right? Brad, no, yes.
I thought that was a rhetorical
just say
question.
Yes. No, just say yes.
Sure.
Let me ask you really quick, John, because Mr. Tactics, got to ask you this: is San Antonio at a disadvantage because they will not be able to get their pregame Whataburger when they're here in Orange County, and they'll have to go with, I guess, what San Antonians think is inferior In-N-Out burger?
Okay, I think this might be a hairy question, but I certainly think that In-N-Out might give them a boost, if anything, just because it's so much better than Whataburger.
Yes, I knew that was coming. Harry, What are the San Antonio players going to do without a Whataburger within driving distance here in Irvine or Orange County or even California, to be precise?
Well, hopefully, no offense to Whataburger, hopefully the players are not eating Whataburger on game day. So first of all, my son doesn't even like Whataburger on game day until after the match for that here.
Well, why do Texans think that Whataburger is so much better than In-N-Out when it's
why do you think Californians think In-N-Out is? It's because it's from Texas. I've had both. I enjoy a double animal style. Don't get me wrong. Animal fries sometimes if I want to, splurge. The fries are awesome, but it's to me you could flip a coin. I think they're both good, but it's one's Texas and one's California, and in the state of Texas, you're not going to agree that the California burger is better than the Texas burger, and I'm pretty sure it's vice versa in California. So
there we go. I like BA County double with grilled onions and chopped chilies. There we go. Look at that. They don't got that in Texas. They actually do. They have In-N-Out in Texas.
We do.
I don't know. Do they have one near you in San Antonio? They do. So yes, I guess your players, that's where they go pre-matches to In-N-Out to be so good. Harry, as a San Antonio person, what does San Antonio – okay, let me ask you this. What does Orange County do that would cause you to be scared in this
Score
match?
First.
So if Orange County scores first, you're scared.
Score first, and if San Antonio doesn't equal. So if Orange County goes in 1-0 at the half,
game's over.
San Antonio is they're gonna keep pushing, and it's well documented that there are players on San Antonio that can get frustrated if things aren't going well, if the refs aren't calling things right, if it's just an off day, for that here. But to me, who scores first? I think there are going to be goals in this game for it here. I just think with San Antonio, you can't play the same style that you played against Oakland. I don't believe Orange County can do that. I think you're going to have to be a little bit more attacking style for that here. If Orange County gets an early goal, and you and I have discussed this for a couple of years. If you look at San Antonio, Orange County head to head, you have to go all the way back to 2016? Or 2017? 2016 for the last San Antonio win. For that here, since then it's been draws in 2018. Orange County, claimed, won both matches 3-0, and then the following year, 2019, 0-0 draws. So Orange County, at least historically, has had San Antonio's numbers. But I think this team is playing at a different level, something that we haven't seen before. In the years of San Antonio, this team reminds me back, going back to the NASL years of the Scorpions, where they got on that roll. They've got that confidence. Alan Marcina plays a different style where it's constant pressure, and no offense to the teams in the Pacific, but they play a more finesse style. And I think, Orange County is probably one of the more physical teams out in the Pacific, but I don't see them as physical as pressing as San Antonio. And it's a different feel. When you face that team, San Antonio doesn't care if they put a body on you. And they'll take an early yellow card, as they saw in the Loyal game. That doesn't scare them. They don't back off. But to me, this game's going to come down to who scores first. If San Antonio is able to get the lead, and then if Orange County scores first, where they can set back and absorb the pressure, and just pass it around, because San Antonio won't keep the ball. They go direct, and that'll be Orange County's ball to kind of bleed out the time.
All right, I'm going to go to you next, John. Tactical breakdown, Orange County, San Antonio. As best you can do in a short bit of time. I'm sure you could do a whole hour discussing the way these two teams will match up, the tactical breakdown, the chess match. But give us the what is it, Cliff's Notes version of this. I'm dating myself. I don't know if even that's still a thing. Who knows?
Yeah, so I mean, if you're San Antonio, I think the real tenets of how you play, you've got the three at the back, you're pushing those wing backs high up the pitch, you're pressing really hard, trying to manufacture turnovers, get into these transitional phases where when you have these talented players like Jose Gallegos, Marcus Epps on the other wing, they just feast in the open field that you get when you force a turnover like that. So trying to manufacture those chances against an Orange County side that isn't going to play ball with that. They're going to sit in two deep lines of four players, going to go long a lot of the time, not going to pass it around at the back and open themselves up to being pressed in that sort of way. I think that's really the key tactical dynamic here, where San Antonio has to try to manufacture some of those transitional moments in the best way that they can. But at the same time, if you're Orange County, you can't just sit back and lump it up to Ronaldo Damas, because San Antonio plays that three at the back that is so naturally able to deal with a lone forward chasing these long balls. So I think the point being made about whoever gets that first goal, whether that's on a set piece or something like that, really is going to be key to how this game breaks down. If Orange County goes up 1-0, I have a real tough time seeing them giving up the lead. But I think it could get ugly if it goes the other way, just because OC opening up really creates those opportunities that definitionally to the Alan Resina system really breed success for San Antonio.
All right, there we go. Really quick, we're going to do predictions, but I want to go really quick down like each of the areas of these rosters and find out who you think has a better defense, midfield, whatever. So we're going to go around the table here. We're going to go goalkeepers. Patrick Rakowski, Jordan Farr. Better goalkeepers, Alan. Or better goalkeeper.
I don't.
Flip a coin.
Yeah, pretty much. I think they're.
All right.
Yep.
It's a coin toss. Brad, what do you think?
I agree with the coin toss. I don't know.
Dylan.
It's got to be a coin toss, right? I mean, if Jordan Farr can keep it in the pitch, keep it within the lines at Championship Stadium, then I think he might be the better keeper. It's that close. I mean,
who's the better keeper, Rakowski or Farr?
For me, I'll go with Orange County, just because I think Farr's only been with San Antonio for 2 weeks now. So if there could be that breakdown in communication under pressure, where Kelsey's been with the team all year, so I'll lean Orange County.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, I'll go ahead and tackle that as well, and just say I do think Rakowski is probably the better shot stopper of the two, but as an indie guy, I got a lot of love for Jordan Farr. Yeah,
I don't mean anything bad about him. I think it's just the more the communication in a pressure situation. Farr, it's been 2 weeks, but like I said, that's not a season.
Defense. Which team has a better defense, Alan?
Oh, that one's tough too. I think maybe individually there's some people in Orange County who you might look at as better defenders, but I mean, I saw the way that they have just manhandled teams. San Antonio is like a phenomenal defensive team, but I'm maybe a little bit of a nod to Orange County. I think 6 clean sheets out of the last 7 matches is pretty darn good, especially against one of those teams as Phoenix. So I'll give maybe a little bit of nod to the back line of Orange County. I think San Antonio's defensive strength comes from the whole team as they play.
All right, Brad.
Okay, I was unmuted. Right now in form, I got to give it to Orange County on this one.
Dylan.
Yeah, this is a tough situation in which you've got a team that plays 3 at the back or 5 at the back, depending on how you look at it. Really, it's just 3 at the back versus, and will occasionally concede a goal versus a team that hasn't conceded a goal in a little bit. I've got a dog here with me now who there have some snout. I want, if Michael Roscoe's fit, I want to say Orange County, but I'm a total homer.
He's a total homer. Harry, are you a homer?
Yeah, it's San Antonio, and I don't even think it's close.
All right, we got to go to Mr. Tactics, John. You're the tiebreaker. Better defense, Orange County or San Antonio?
Yeah, Alan hit the nail on the head that San Antonio as an entire unit is better defensively, but I think just in terms of the players you're looking at in the back line, I'm going to give the slightest of edges to OC.
Harry, you're not doing too well here so far, but maybe it'll change. Who knows? Midfield grouping there. Who's got the advantage? Let's go reverse, but I'm going to leave John for last just because he's sort of Mr. Tactics. Got to hear him last. So go to Harry first. And obviously, you can't go against Mikko Kuningas. He's just the greatest midfielder ever.
Probably.
You know, anyone that loves social distortion all the way from Denmark has got to be at the top of the list.
I'm going to say it's a draw.
Or where's he from? I'm wrong.
Finland. How
Finland
dare you, Ray?
Rough area of the world.
Samora out.
Samora out. Sorry. Okay, go, Harry.
I'm going to say it's pretty close to a draw. Because I do think Orange County's midfield solid, and I think San Antonio's is if we're talking about strengths, and this is going to seem kind of weird to say, the midfield, in my opinion, is looking at between the 3 sets. 3 sets. They're between the forwards.
He sounds nervous talking about his midfield.
Well, I don't want to be total homer, so I'll go draw. I think it's pretty even. The
Orange
homer
County's solid. San Antonio, it's a draw. Sorry, Harry, I had to do it. It's just tough. He does not want to say Orange County. He's trying so hard not to find.
No, it's actually the other way where I don't want to just seem like hey, it's and I know my prediction is going to be that way, but I think for defensively with PC with Abu, Maloney, Maloney, PC, and Abu, I think that they bring that. I just don't know, and this is going to be one of my questions to you guys is, up front, do you guys have like an Epps or Jose Gallegos that can kind of control, that has the speed? That I don't. I've watched OC a little bit, but I don't see that attacking prowess on your side. So when I look at the midfield, I think defensively, you guys probably have more of an advantage on that. But if you flip it over to the offensive side, that's where I don't see the attacking prowess that San Antonio has. And that's where, when you're talking about midfield.
So you're going for the draw.
I went draw because I do think if you're talking about defensively, I'll lean probably a little bit more OC. But offensively, I don't think, at least in my opinion, and I don't watch Orange County every week like you guys do. I don't think that they have the attacking prowess that Gallegos and Epps bring at this point.
Maybe not the same level, but there are players sort of like a Brian Olofsky that provide a little bit of offensive threat from the midfield. Kuningas does a little bit of that as well. Dylan, better midfield, Orange County, San Antonio.
I kind of have to echo Harry here. I think defensively it might be Orange County, but and that's no disrespect to Brian Olofsky, but Gallegos is something special. Can I go with draw as well? This one's too close. I have a good answer for the next one, but this one's just too close for me.
All right, Brad. Can someone just, be confident in an answer here? Brad.
I don't even think you said that Miko Caningis is the best midfielder on Orange County. I don't even think he's the best midfielder on Orange County. I think that goes to Calvillo, who's kind of been quietly having one of the better seasons, and I've given him a lot of flack in the past.
You all know that my thoughts are not based strictly on the performance on the field, right? Miko Kuninga is just the most amazing player. The perfect hair, the perfect music, and just a great all-around guy. Brad.
All that said,
I can't remember his country the country he's from for some reason. Who knows? Go, Brad.
I'm gonna give San Antonio a slight edge in the midfield, though.
Alan.
Can I make the same argument but in reverse regarding San Antonio and Orange County, in that I think that there are some really strong standouts for Orange County's midfield, but I think as a unit, what San Antonio brings to the pitch might be a better unit. I think that there's a couple of weak spaces in Orange County's midfield that might be a weak link. But you're looking. Seth Kasipli's there. Kaningas is always great, but he came on late. Dylan Powers has been pretty consistent as a defender. But I
Tommy McCabe always starts.
Yeah, but I think that just like player to player, like I think as a unit, I think maybe San Antonio is a better unit. I think Orange County has a couple of standout players that could tilt it in their favor, but and again, how do you define a midfielder with Orange County set up versus San Antonio set up? Is Brian Olowski really a midfielder, or is he like more of a attacking guy? You might put in the front line. Like, just depends on how you define them. I'm going to give San Antonio a slight edge, but I think Orange County does have a couple of pretty special players that can make a difference.
John.
Yeah, you were asking for someone to be decisive here. I'm pretty convinced that San Antonio is the better midfield. If you're including Gallegos and Epps as midfielders instead of forwards, like, there's not really a question for me. That's as someone who's been watching PC since he was in Fort Lauderdale and then ASL, and just loves the guy. But the talent in that San Antonio midfield and the way that Marcina has them arranged to maximize their talent just is pretty unbeatable for me.
Ray, what's your views? I don't believe I've heard your views on it as well. I know you've asked the five of us, but what is yours?
Orange County.
Everyone knows I have no views on anything. It's just I'm the moderator of this whole show. I bring my views when there's very specific views that I agree on, like Orange County won the PK shootout. Let's go to attacking players, forwards, really quick. Let's just do really quick answers.
San Antonio.
Pick a team, one or no. Harry says San Antonio. Dylan.
I'm on the Ronaldo Damas train.
All right, says Orange County. Brad. Yeah, we can't hear Brad. What about you, Alan?
San Antonio.
I would same argument for midfield, San Antonio, but Damas could steal a win, like if it's close. Like Damas has the ability to put a team on his back and get a goal when you need it. But I think again, as a team and as a unit, I think San Antonio has a stronger offensive unit.
John.
Wink.
Yeah, OC.
Okay, cool. Prediction time, and we're going to ignore the prediction that Jacob threw into YouTube. If anyone is watching on YouTube, do not look at his prediction, because that is not a good prediction that we have there. Score prediction for this match. We don't need to know anything else but the score. I'm going to go to our opponent guest here first. Harry, what is your prediction for this match?
3-0. It's not close.
3-0, and he doesn't pick a team. Brad, what is your prediction?
I
honestly thought, Harry, you were just going to say 3-0 and hope one of the teams scores 3, and you'd be like, yeah,
no,
I was right.
I don't think Orange County stays in this match. I don't. I think San Antonio is going to walk them off the pitch.
By the way, I think you have a friend watching our stream, Royce Alvarez. He picks 2-0 San Antonio as well. Brad?
I'm still going to give the edge to the home field advantage, 2-1 Orange County.
All right, Alan?
2-1 San Antonio.
Ooh, Dylan. Dylan's ready to throw down now.
I'm a throw down, guys. Just kidding. 2-1 Orange County. I love copying Brad.
And then John, your prediction.
Yeah, on the record for 2-0 to San Antonio, and not the closest game.
Who thinks they know what my prediction is? I think Jacob knows what my prediction is going to be, but he's flipping it incorrectly. Dylan, what's my prediction?
5-0 San Antonio, which might be a pretty fair assumption if San Antonio scores early. That might be a pretty fair prediction for how this game goes.
Hey, you know why I make my predictions the way I do. Dylan, I know you do not agree with my prediction style, but it has been working. Is this a time you want me to change it? I'm going to ask you right now. Should I change it and make a legit prediction, or should I go with what's been working for this team? I'm going to put it on you, Dylan. What do I do?
Have a little faith, Ray. I think you should switch it up.
All right. So Orange County, you have heard Dylan. He wants me to switch it up and not go with what has been working for this team this whole playoff run. So I'm going to do it. If Orange County fails to be victorious here, we all know who to blame. It's Mr. Dylan for not letting me go with my trusted and true and tested prediction method. My prediction is going to be 2-1 Orange County.
I
That
do
is my
have
official
one
prediction.
Quick
question. Go, Harry.
Question here for you. And Royce kind of talked about it here. We know how San Antonio is going to attack. How is Orange County going to attack San Antonio?
100% through Damas.
So just over the top?
Simple and sweet. That's going to be the main way that it'll happen. Unless anyone else, I think Alan maybe has a different thought. It looked like you were about to grab the.
I mean, I think it's going to be, some hold up play. It might not be like exactly like route one over the top long ball. Hope Damas runs into it. Although there's going to be plenty of that. I think there might be some attempts to do some build up through some outlets to alleviate pressure, like we saw against Oakland, and maybe some nice build up play in the final third. If Thomas Voltson gets a chance to play at the back end, I think you're going to see some of that. But I think there's going to be a fair amount of, we believe Ronaldo Damas is the fastest guy on the pitch, and if we can place balls perfectly in between the back line and the keeper, we're going to get a chance to nip a goal. And again, I'll defer to tactic master John, but I did see some of those elements in OC about that, trying to hold up, and Damas is pretty good at that for his size. But I think most of the outlet is going to be kick it long and hope.
Yeah, the Damas thing certainly is going to be the primary mode of attack, and I don't love it against that three at the back for San Antonio. At the same time, you had some bright moments, especially where Iloski would come deep, pick up the ball, sort of spark things for Orange County, and I think that might be a route to some level of success if you're not going to just go for that direct style of play. But I really do have a tough time seeing how Orange County breaks this team down.
There we go. Does that work for you, Harry?
Yeah, it does.
All right. Let's quickly, John, and I hate to do this and rush you. Give us your quick, I guess, preview of the Eastern Conference final between Tampa Bay and Louisville before we wrap things up here.
Sure. So I think with Louisville, they've really shown this trend where it takes them a while to grow into a game, and then they get comfortable and really take control of it. And they just don't have that luxury against a team as sharp as Tampa. With Louisville especially, they're a team that tries to pin you back, keep possession in the final third, and from there they can rely on some of the smartest midfielders in the league to really make good runs off of each other. You'll see one of the big things that you saw in the last game was Gonzalez would pinch in from the left, which would give you Gomez bombing up the left, up that same wing. Things like that where it's predicated on possession, and Tampa doesn't let you have that. They've got the best defense in the league, maybe excepting OC. They can hit you on the counter. They can possess the ball themselves. I just think that Tampa is too dynamic, and I know I'm coming in with a bit of bias in that regard, but the way that they can drive play through the wing backs, they can work it centrally through players like Lewis Hilton, who for me is one of the best box-to-box players in the league. And then they've got Sebastian Guenzati up top, who's just absolutely magical at times. I never want to count out Louisville, but I do think that Tampa is the favorite here.
So you're calling it Tampa's going to win this match?
I've got a 2-0 for Tampa on that side
All
as
right,
well.
so John's got Tampa, San Antonio in the final. We will see if he is correct once this weekend ends here. But let's do this really quick. There's a bunch of this is like coaching carousel season. It's already begun, even though the season's not ended. We're not going to talk about stuff because we've gone way past our allotted time here. We will save that type of talk either for next week or down the road when we decide to look at some of this stuff. We're going to get to our random thoughts here at this point. Huh?
It'll be next week.
Okay. Oh, well, geez. We're going to be busy talking about the championship game that Orange County will be participating in. I got to slow down my speech so I don't mess it up. Random thoughts really quick. Let's do quick random thoughts, and we'll go from there. Let's go first to Brad. Brad, random thought.
My random thought is sports related. Carolina Hurricanes are something special so far this year. They beat the Golden Knights tonight.
All right, Alan.
Be nice to each other on the internet, even if your team loses. You don't deserve death threats, a la L Tree fans when they lost to US. They're humans.
There we go. Dylan.
I just want to tell you that no death threats thing. That was kind of crazy that a USL commentator's getting death threats because he didn't pick your team. And if you do that, you're a piece of word I can't say on this podcast. My actual random thought was, it is an incredibly small world because I happened to be in North Park, San Diego last night, and I happened to see none other than San Diego Loyal's own Jack Metcalf walking around. And then I stared at him because I was like, oh, dang, I know this guy. And then he stared at me and he looked really annoyed. So my advice and my random thought is that you better have some grade A-ish to talk if you see a professional player in public. But like in a funny way, like Alan had some good stuff. If it was Corey Herzog, I would have said smoothies suck, which is false. And I loved my time having smoothies with Corey. But yeah, have some grade A-ish to talk. Everyone have a lovely week. Be good to one another, regardless of what happens.
Drink smoothies with soccer players. I think one time a few months back, I saw Miko Kuningas at the Costco gas station, a couple cars in front of me. So who knows?
Dude, I saw him getting gas like 3 weeks ago. If he was driving a Mark 6 Jetta, it was Miko Kuningas.
It may have been that. I know it wasn't something super fancy. So let's go, Harry. Random thought.
So random thought number one. I know there's going to be a few San Antonio fans that are going to be traveling out, so I hope they have a great time. From everything that I've heard, Orange County is a great host. And tonight, Ray unfortunately got the best of us. His Clippers defeated the Spurs, which is not exactly shocking, but
that's a precursor to what's going to happen this weekend, just so you know.
Hopefully it's not.
I will continue to get the best of those people in San Antonio. John, random thought.
Yeah, swing it back to the hockey stuff to wrap up here. And my Arizona Coyotes, who were on pace for the worst season in the history of professional hockey, got a win tonight. So happy to see that. Yeah.
They're still on pace for the worst.
We don't talk about that.
It's hockey.
It is on ESPN Plus, which is a nice bonus.
Yes, I love that. It makes it worth the $1 increase they had.
Oh, wow. I don't have a random thought. I have a random question really quick for Harry, but this has to be really quick, Harry. 2 or 3 players that are the most easily riled up on San Antonio, just so that I can let Rob Kiernan know.
I can't give you that information.
Oh, but you have to because you're a guest on our show. You signed the contract. You have to answer everything.
It's no secret. Patino, PC. Trying to think who's the third one.
Arturo Rodriguez.
By the way, what kind of name? That's not his real name, right? PC's not the real name.
No, it's Victor Aguirre.
Okay. I was just wondering when I saw that jersey. That was the most random jersey I saw. It shows you how much I follow San Antonio.
He's just advocating to use nicer words to each other.
Or he's just advocating don't use Apple.
And I'll say the third one. He hasn't really had any incidents yet, but Courtney Ford is one that his time in San Antonio, he's not shy. We'll just leave it at that.
Wouldn't you be upset too, or get easily upset if you were named after shoddy cars? I want to thank our guest, Harry, John from USL Tactics, Harry from SA Soccer Roundtable, and then of course our regular voices here on the show, and our producer, Andy. I know we went a lot longer than we normally do, but it was previewing the Western Conference Finals. We had a lot to talk about. I appreciate that. For all the listeners, thank you for listening. Go on our website if you want to listen to any past episodes, ocscpodcast.com. I want to thank everyone. This is the Orange and Black Soccer Cast. We're out.